Hello everybody, welcome back to CNS Corvettes in beautiful sunny Sarasota, Florida. It's your Corvette buddy Lyle here to talk to you about more interesting, exciting, and hopefully helpful Corvette stuff. Before we get started though, check this out. Okay guys, we have another really good cause offering a sweepstakes for a 2024 Corvette Z06 plus $20,000 cash to cover your taxes. This is really a beautiful car. Obviously, we all want a Z06, and it's a chance to get a reasonable shot at winning one without having to lay out a lot of money. Now, the key here, and we always focus on this, is being put up by MS Solutions, which is a charity that assists people with multiple sclerosis and helps them not only financially, but also helps raise public awareness so that more and more people maybe are helping to push for new solutions or further research. They've been around a long time. Obviously, they're based here in the United States. It's a worthy cause. And the cool part is, because we're partnering with them, if you go in and say, I'll give $100 to the charity, you're actually going to get an additional 25% more entries. So for $100, you get 90 entries plus an additional 23 because we're helping them out. So you'll see our promo code CNS here. You can do whichever amount you feel comfortable with, enter your name, information, all that, and on the next page, your credit card information. And then the drawing for this card is on August 31st, 2024. So if you are seeing this video after that date, then check on one of my more recent videos, and we will probably have another charitable sweepstakes happening at that time that will still be ongoing. Otherwise, guys, I wish you the best of luck, and if I hear about you winning this car, I'd be really, really thrilled. So let me know. Thanks. Okay, guys, so today's topic is really more about your feedback and what your opinions are. I've had this thought forming in my head for a while now, and with the unveiling of the new Corvette ZR1, it really has kind of hit home that I think we've reached a point where something has to change in the way that Corvettes are marketed and in the way that they are maintained, especially from the perspective of GM and Chevrolet. So here's my thoughts. With these cars now regularly bringing over 100, 150, and now with the new ZR1, probably well over $200,000, and being very specialized because there's really nothing else in the lineup like it anymore. We don't have Camaros anymore. We don't have any other sports cars other than maybe like some of the CTS Cadillac stuff. Are GM dealerships really equipped to handle the clientele and the maintenance and technical work required on these very expensive, very special cars? And this is an open-ended question. I don't know. But let me talk you through some of my reasoning and why I want to hear from you guys about this. I'm not going to name any names here, but recently in our area here in Florida, a gentleman with a brand new 2023 Corvette Z06, fully loaded, paid just under $200,000 for this car, took it into a Chevrolet dealership that shall remain nameless to have his first complimentary oil change completed with 3,500 miles or whatever was on the car at the time. And so he gave it to them, they had it for a day, they gave it back. He then drove it to the golf course to meet a bunch of his buddies, and when he left there after their round of golf was completed, one of his friends called him and said, "Hey, there's oil all over the ground where your car was." And while he was on the phone with the guy driving down the road, the engine in his Z06 grenaded. Dead. Long story short, what we've come to find out through the car owner is that the GM dealership had their normal 17-year-old oil change kid do the oil change on this car, but he wasn't familiar with the dry sump system and the proper way to fill, run up to temperature, and check a dry sump oiling system once an oil change has been completed. The results being something wasn't tightened because there was oil everywhere, and B, he didn't know how to put enough oil into the car to begin with. So this car had just like 10 miles on it after its oil change and blew up the engine. Now, GM, the dealership first said, oh, we'll get your engine replaced, and the guy's like, no, you owe me a new car, which I would have done the same thing. Back and forth, GM got involved. He is getting a brand new 2025 Z06 at a higher option level at no cost. They're taking his car back and they're giving him they're putting an engine in his old car and giving it to drive until his new car is available. All well and good, that side of it. But then this gets me to thinking. These cars are too special and too specialized to be maintained even at the most basic level by people who aren't specifically trained on it. Now, I know that there are Corvette dealerships around the country, a select few, that truly do have Corvette specialists on staff who have been highly trained and highly experienced with the current model Corvette or the one immediately before it, so it kind of bleeds over. There's not a lot of bleed over in the C8 because it's a completely different car than the previous generation. I think at a lot of Chevy dealerships, the Corvette specialist is whoever is wearing the Corvette specialist button that day, and they say, oh, that's Johnny, our Corvette specialist, who doesn't know anything more about Corvettes than any other mechanic there. Here's the problem I see with that. When you're dealing with cars that are as complex and as expensive as Porsches, McLarens, some Ferraris, some Lamborghinis, $150,000 to $250,000 cars. Man, do you think that the Chevy dealership network can handle that type of stress, that type of innovation? I don't. I think personally, and this is where I want your opinion, I think personally it's probably time for Corvette to become its own brand, not under the Chevy banner. Similar to what Dodge did with Ram trucks. Ram is now its own thing, but I think Chevy would want to do it for a different reason. I could see in large metropolitan areas all over the country that Chevy could have specifically designed and dedicated facilities just to Corvette. Because think about it, you've got the base C8 Stingray, you've got the C8 Z06, coupes and convertibles of all the different versions, the new ZR1 coming out, we know that the E-Ray is out, and now you're going to be adding, I'm sure in the next year and a half to 2 years, the Zora, which is going to be the even more powerful, super special Corvette that's probably going to have 1,350 horses and have all-wheel drive similar to the E-Ray. Tack onto that, you're probably going to have the Corvette SUV before too terribly long. Now, that's an entire model range that I don't feel that today's Chevy dealerships are equipped to handle. So could you see a Corvette-specific dealership and repair facility being a viable alternative? I certainly could. I think that you would be, especially with the price these cars are bringing, you're not dealing with people buying $20,000 or $30,000 cars here. You're dealing with a much different clientele, and they have certain expectations about presentation, professionalism, efficiency, all that stuff. And right now, I just don't think Chevrolet is up to the task. Now, would it be possible to say take some of the super high-powered Cadillac performance stuff and the Corvettes and put them together? Maybe, because it's not like Corvette and Cadillac haven't shared stuff in the past. Everybody ever remember the XLR? I don't know. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this. So put it in the comments below. I just think it's time. I think Corvette has moved beyond being just another car sitting in a Chevy showroom. Now, I'm sure certain people at Chevy won't like to hear that because the Corvette's a pretty big draw into that showroom. But if you can't service the customers that you've sold the cars to, it's time to make a change. And for the good of the brand, especially as high up in the echelon of vehicles these cars are getting now, I think it may be time. So what do you think? And especially, I know that there are GM people who watch these videos. I'd like to know, I know you probably can't talk outside this class, but what is being discussed at GM to handle this? What procedures or changes are in place or forthcoming to make it to where taking your brand new C8 Z06 to your Chevy dealer to be serviced doesn't mean you're sitting there crossing your fingers hoping nothing goes wrong? I look to see your comments below. I'll be actively watching them and answering them over the weekend. Let me know what you think. I think it may be time. What do you say? Have a great weekend.